guys, welcome back to Suero TV. I'm Lota Akpata, your usual host with the most. We're back with Bri. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again.
Yes, thank you for coming back. We're continuing with our conversation about estate planning. If you guys remember, the last video we actually shot was actually about estate planning and how to plan for your estate. So today we're actually going to be talking about trusts. That's our conversation today, trust. So I've been getting a lot of questions. Lotta, can we please touch on trust? Because it's actually a very important thing to have, but it's not well understood on how it works. This is why Bui is here to actually explain that for us. And let's plan for our estate, let's plan for our finances, let's plan for our assets. That's what we're going to be talking about today, yeah? Yeah, thank you, Bui, for coming. Let's get into it. Let's just get right into it. Trusts. What are trusts?
Yeah, like you've mentioned, they tend to be very much misunderstood. That's because there's a lot when it comes to trusts. Like it covers a huge area and they're used for various reasons.
Yeah.
It's a very important financial tool as well as legal tool for your assets. But I'm going to try and unpack it a little bit without going too much into detail once again, just so that it's palatable and a little bit somewhat demystified.
Yeah.
So in legalese, or in legal terms, a trust is basically just a contract between the grantor, the trustee, and the beneficiaries. But I'll tell you that if I were to unpack it and use maybe visual so that people can understand, a trust, I always say, if you can imagine a treasure chest. It's like having a treasure chest and putting all of your money, your assets, your bank accounts, everything that you consider valuable or an asset to you into it, and then locking it away. So you as the grantor put all of these precious things of yours into this treasure chest, lock it, and then every now and then you give it to a trustee to manage it. So the trustee can unlock it, and the trustee can be the grantor, by the way, or can be somebody else.
What is the grantor?
So the grantor, right, is the person who wishes to protect things.
The assets.
You.
Me.
So I set out to want to do something about my estate, to protect it somehow for future generations or for my spouse in the event that anything were to happen to me, whether it be death or incapacity or disability, right? So the person who wishes to do something, the owner of the assets, that's the grantor. And the person who decides, what I need a trust, right? So the grantor then appoints a trusted either individual or financial advisor or anyone else. Could be a company or an individual who is not only well trusted, but also capable of making sure that the trust is administered in the exact manner that it would have been detailed in the trust. So we go back to the treasure chest, right? The assets are put in the treasure chest, and every now and then the trustee gets to unlock and do as the trust has said must be done for the benefit of the beneficiaries. Typically, your beneficiaries would be your spouse, your children, your grandchildren, your dogs, your pets, your charity organizations, anyone that you wish to make sure that they benefit from your assets in the event that you are unable to ensure that they benefit. So basically speaking, that's what a trust is. It's a plan, your rule book on how things should happen in the event that you are not there anymore or you are unable to do it anymore.
All right. So a trustee is the person that handles.
Yes, the trustee is the person that makes sure that this happens, that the trust is administered in the manner that it has been drafted.
All right. So who is involved in the trust?
So those are the people that are involved in a trust. You, the grantor, the trustee, and by the way, like I mentioned, you can also be the trustee, or you can be the trustee with other trustees, and then the beneficiaries, of course.
Okay. And then I understand that there are different types of trust. Take us through this.
Yes. Yes, there's a lot. But, in the world of trusts, there are two main types of trusts that one should, if they were to understand. So there's what we call testamentary trusts. These are death trusts. And these are trusts that typically go in your will. So your will would say, upon my death, a trust will be set up. This will happen. And now the catch with that is that the trust doesn't exist during your lifetime. Right. It exists upon your death,
with the will,
the will, right? The will gives birth to this trust, and so you would appreciate, therefore, that because it comes as a form as a result of the will. It goes through probate. Probate is that process we talked about before.
Estate planning.
Yeah, when we introduced estate planning, there's the legal process that has to happen. Whether you die intestate means without any estate plan in place, or when you have a will. So it goes through this legal process, and so the trust, therefore, does not help you avoid probate. If it's a testamentary trust. Yes. Okay. And then the other types of trusts are living trusts. And living trusts are those trusts that would start being in place from the minute it is set up. So during the course of your life, this trust, you can transfer the properties and assets and everything to it. You can be a trustee yourself, right? And it can start functioning from the minute that, And the advantage of living trusts usually, not all of them, of course, because like I said before, the idea with estate planning is that people are different. So you will appreciate that everybody will properly advised by the right financial planners and estate planning attorneys, will have a trust or any other document or any other vehicle that is specific to their needs, peculiar circumstances.
Yeah, it has
so
to be.
I'll keep stressing that, right?
It has to be who you are and what do you desire.
Who you are.
So even if you're advised,
yes. Make sure that
it resonates with who you are. With who you are,
and it's very important that in identifying a financial planner or a lawyer, find someone that you really trust, because you have to give them the details of your life, so that they can then advise you properly. Right? It's like going to a doctor and not being able to tell where the pain actually is because you don't trust this doctor. Therefore, they're unable to really help you.
And it's okay to not click with the person, and they can just not go with you and who you are. It's okay to change. Just go to the next. There's so many lawyers or financial planners, and if you feel they're not hearing, if they're not hearing you,
have to
change.
Vibe.
You have to vibe. That's the word.
Yes, you have to vibe. So so that said, living trusts therefore would be those trusts that you can avoid probate, right? And also, most importantly, they would assist in the event of incapacity or disability, where you are alive, but because of either ill health or accident or anything, you're unable to administer your property for yourself. And so the trust would then specify what would happen in that event. Yes.
It's also, just to add, it's also actually really good for when you retire, I guess.
Yes.
Then you can continue working, automatically.
Indeed.
Yeah, I think we should also just give an example of how it would work. For example, as a company, if you have a company, your assets.
Okay, so that said, right, because we've talked about testamentary trusts. In this event, you're not asking about those where it's a death trust. You're talking about those where it's a living trust. And I think worth mentioning still is that still under living trust, there are various different types of trust, but mainly two main categories. And these are revocable versus irrevocable. And the main differentiator is that one, you lock the assets in and there's no more changes. That's it, right? And then the other, you can keep playing around with them over time. So yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. So to give you an example, for example, let's say you own or you run a business that really depends on you. Right? You're the star. How so?
How so? Business? There's no business.
Yes. So you would want to make sure that in the event that happened, there would be specific instruction of what to do with that business.
Continuity plan.
And that can be actually stipulated in your trust, right? And your trustee would then know where to get this rule book, as I like to call it, to go and look into how you would have wanted things to happen. Because look, your family may not be able to run it, and you have to possibly appreciate that.
And not want to either.
Just because it was a good, viable business doesn't mean that it must be a family member that runs it in the event that something happens. You can have a plan in place that makes sure that it's put in place that, look, I had people that I worked with. I've been working on the succession plan. I have staff members who you will have talked to them, of course.
Yeah.
Who can take over to run the business.
Yes.
And this is what will happen to the proceeds of the business. They're locked up. It's now profit, right? It's income. Similar to, let's say you have property, right? You have property and it's got income, right? And this property would then belong to the trust, because remember, you transfer the properties to the trust. We call it funding the trust, because a lot of people, or sometimes it happens that people set up trusts and then they don't actually do the actual transfer of assets to the trust, which beats the purpose.
Yeah.
You have this very...
then how does it work then?
The important thing to remember is that it's a treasure chest, right? You have a treasure chest.
Also, you can choose.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's very important to transfer everything. Make a plan for everything. Leave no stone unturned, right? That's the main thing that people must remember, that it's still your treasure chest, but if the assets are not in the treasure chest, it defeats the purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it can be quite expensive. That's why I'm mentioning it, which is the main reason why sometimes people take a bit of time. Because remember, the transfer of property process takes
time
and money.
And it's expensive. Yeah.
It's expensive. So that's why people tend to think about trusts as a tool for the rich.
Yeah.
Because the truth is that, once again, it doesn't mean that because trusts are very important tools, they are the best for everyone, right? So like I said, find a financial advisor and a legal advisor who will nudge you in the right direction, because it may be that you don't have much properties that need or necessitate to set up a trust. Yeah. You have to find the right vehicle for your circumstances.
You mentioned funding the trust. What does that mean?
Funding the trust is the process of transferring the assets into the trust.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's it. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So even if we're mentioning the cost, that yes, it can get expensive, it's actually one of the most worth it.
Yes, it's worth
expenses that you would probably have. You know, if there's one worth it expenses like buying a home for your family, whatever. If there's one expense that is worth it in your budget, should be this one.
And of course. Yeah. Because remember, there'll always be a catch. Yeah. You may not incur the expenses now, but you want to leave them to your family, for example. So let's say, for example, your wish is to make sure that your assets don't go through probate. Yeah. Then you will incur that expense gladly, because you don't want it to be your spouse or children incurring probate expenses. Yeah. When you're not even there. Yeah. Right.
When they don't have to.
So the advantage of trusts may be that things are done now. Yeah. You get over it now. Get through with it now. Yeah. The process of transfer, the process of costs, the process, you made a plan for your people such that you have taken away, you have lifted the burden of a whole lot of things. Not only decision making, but also funding, also the process. Yeah. It's draining, they're mourning already, you know. And
so can they just...
So there's always a cost. Like there's always a cost. It just depends on
which one. Yep. It's always a cost, and which one is best, you know, which one is worth it. Yes. Yeah, that's it. Let's continue with the different types of trusts. I think you've explained this one at depth.
So, no, we're good. We're good. Look, we don't want to be confusing or going too deep into things, right? So the main two types of trusts I've explained, and still under the living trust, there's revocable and irrevocable. And the main differentiator being, would you want to be administering from time to time? Would you want to be moving around the assets and life changes, right? Yeah. You acquire things, you get rid of things, you get to use the trust even in the event of your death. And that's the main differentiator. There's a lot that could be said, but you don't want to be going too heavy in. The best thing to do is to get a good, reputable, understanding attorney.
Estate attorney.
That understands, and also a financial planner, because you're not only planning for the properties, you're also planning for how it's going to be administered. I'll give you an example. The beauty of it is that you can even decide not only who gets to benefit from a trust, but how and when. So for example, it may be that you don't want for your children, whatever that age may be, to all of a sudden have access of transfer of properties or money to them at a young age. Maybe your children are 8 years old or 9 years old. Or maybe they're 18, which is 21, they're in varsity. It's a good time to be getting millions at your disposal, you know? So you don't want to, you want to make sure that your children's blessings are indeed their blessings and not their downfall. They don't destroy them, because like I said, a good time.
That's the role of financial planning,
yes,
basically.
That's the role of financial planning, exactly.
I get you.
That's why your trust would then say, would then stipulate to the T at which stages and how you would want your beneficiaries to have access.
Yeah.
So it can even state that it should go towards their education, or it can be that you want your child to benefit upon their retirement.
Yeah, I get you.
Or you may want, you may even want to protect it from perhaps your child is or one of your beneficiaries could be a spouse, of course, or or your grandchildren. Perhaps they are very risk prone. They're not risk averse, and I mean that in the best of ways possible. So these are people. It could be that you have a child that you've grown to understand that they're not afraid to take on risk. They're entrepreneurial by nature, and you want to make sure that whatever it is that they're going to inherit does not form part of their estate ever. So that if they get to be sued,
or get into
any trouble of what form, their inheritance is protected. Or if your spouse wishes to remarry, or if your children wish to marry, it doesn't form part of that estate because the truth of the matter is life happens and people go through experiences and divorce might happen. So you don't want a situation where it's different people now without you having planned for it benefiting from your property when you had not intended for it to be like that. So it can be specific to the T.
I think what Bui is trying to say is attorneys are not financial planners. You see, that's where now the financial planner comes in, helps you plan financially, and then you take it to the attorney. You are able to explain to them, and they will tell you the legal side of things and exactly the best way to place it and how to do things. That's where the financial planner comes in and helps you to plan to the T on what money goes where, what asset goes where. I think this is what basically you're trying to say. All right. So what are the reasons to set up a trust? What would be the reasons?
Well, there are various advantages, right? As well as
we've spoken about some already, but let's just get deeper into it.
We've mentioned that it eases off the burden of your beneficiaries, your loved ones, right? And it protects legacies. We've talked about the need for making sure that wealth stays within the family over generations.
Generational,
If that is your wish, of course.
It has to be you. Maybe you're not
it's a free world, you know. And if you feel like when I was to school, it's still fine, you know. But it is an advantage nonetheless that if you are one person who wishes to make sure that wealth stays within the family from generation upon generation, that's a major advantage, right? Also, remember we talked about the legal process, probate, avoidance of it. So
from that
we're not talking about testamentary trust. But in the event that that were to happen, you know that you have privacy, right? Because the legal process is open for anyone to see. So you don't want anyone, where in the event that you don't want or you wish for people to not know what it is that you owned and how not, it means that this thing is just going to automatically just take over and just take care of your family. So you have that privacy.
Of
and
your
of course
things,
we mentioned,
of
course we mentioned the costs of probate. You know, it doesn't come cheap and it must be done by lawyers. You know, so you can avoid that too. And I think those are main advantages. Apart from the fact that you would have ensured that your wish is exactly what it is. So I've heard people call it having a voice from the grave. You know, you're still there.
And you rest in peace. This is the resting in peace.
Yes, this is what they mean by resting in peace. Yes. So you will have made sure that people aren't doubtful of how you would have wanted them to use that money. Or your money rather. You know?
Absolutely.
But there's now,
you're not gonna turn in your grave.
Yes. And also at 21 he can get a bit, at 30 he can get a bit, or he doesn't get any properties transferred to him, just benefits from the
so he doesn't sell it. It's up to you. No, absolutely. Are there any disadvantages? We've been talking about a lot of advantages besides the expense.
Of course, the expense.
It
doesn't come cheap, and the expense is not only necessarily the the actual setting up, but also like we mentioned earlier on the transfer of the properties.
And the continuation of managing it, isn't it?
Yeah, and the continuation of managing it, indeed. So, I mean, I can't think of a whole lot of more disadvantages other than the expense. Because, look, you will have made sure that you have tied all of the screws, tightened all of the screws. So it now doesn't become an issue of disadvantages, but an issue of which suits you more in the different array of estate planning vehicles that we have. So I wouldn't say that not any that have that many disadvantages. It just means this is more advantageous than that because of this. This is more advantageous than that because of this. So yeah, that's it really.
Now that we've heard everything, now I want to go set up the trusts. Where do I go? Where do I start?
We've said it already. Make sure that your finances are in order.
Visit your financial planner.
Even if you don't want to set up a trust, just enjoy. For your own good.
It's actually, absolutely.
So yeah, that can't be stressed, right? Make sure that your things are in order. And then identify a good knowledgeable and experienced attorney in estate planning. Estate. And have a sit down. You'll need probably 2 or 3 meetings minimum because there's no person who can advise you instant. Right. So that they get to appreciate what exactly it is that you have, where you want to go, even during your lifetime, how you want, what purpose it is that you need a trust for, right? And then you can take it from there. But unfortunately, with this one, it can only be attorneys, absolutely. All right, thank you, Bui. I don't know if you have anything last to say to your viewers about this. That's it. Look, we live in. I think we've talked about this before all the time, and sometimes we always say we wish people could come in and have a bit of snippet to the conversations that we have. These are very delicate times, right? Even more than before. COVID times, we've had a bit of loss, all of us.
A lot.
We've had a fair share of scare, all of us. And I wouldn't stress it more, the importance of making sure that your estate planning is in place and that your finances are in place. So on a gloomy-ish but very important aspect, it would be nice to see the people that we know and the people that we care about, but most importantly, everybody making sure that there are things that are taken care of now whilst they still can. Because look, we say it all the time. Either death or incapacity, they will come. It'll come. It's inevitable. And we don't even have to think about it we don't have to be scared about it.
It's part of life.
It's life. So just passage. Absolutely. And if we could have more of these conversations, if we could make sure that people went and made sure that they did the right thing. That'd be really nice.
Absolutely. I think we will definitely have more of these conversations so that you guys are more informed and continuously encourage you on the importance of doing this. Hence, we're bringing the likes of my friend here. We have these conversations privately most of the time, but we feel the need that, guys, let's do this. It's not for the elite view. We can do it ourselves. Our miraga, our wealth that we actually have, let's protect it. Let's, have generational wealth. We can create the generational wealth for our children and let the great-grandchildren.
We can unstuck ourselves from this. What is this called? Black text?
Yes. It doesn't have to.
Let's have the conversations with our loved ones. Let's talk to our parents. I know the parents don't like the conversation.
Very hard conversation.
but they don't trust us. They don't know why we're bringing up these topics. But you know what?
They didn't have this.
This is how people end up taking or changing life as they know it. Have the conversations with your friends, with your siblings. Tell your sister or your brother or your mate. They all sudden we don't want to be talking about these things with anyone. We just want to go to that place where you had put your wishes and then administer things the way you would have wanted to.
Because it's your assets after all. So.
And we love you. We love your children. We love your spouses. We don't want to fight over about what should have happened.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you guys. Bye for now. Thank you for watching. Bye.